going through your towns and you've got a preacher there, not offending no one in this country, speaking about Christ, and then over here you've got another culture speaking about something that didn't originate in this country. The people who are listening to this are getting on the phone snitching on this, and the people that don't listen or listen to this don't get on the phone over there and snitch on that. So when the police come into your town centres and you see them going to the Christian man, it's because all them lot have got on the phone umpteen times and snitched. And this is what you're seeing. And unfortunately, we've got a massive culture within our country not to snitch. Unfortunately, in them countries, they snitch at the sign of a little bit of trouble. And they brought that culture here. Just like you see a lot of people in this country not condemning the actions of them monsters coming into the country. They don't condemn the actions when they're snitching. They participate. Not all of them, some of them. It's about reaching out to the younger community within the Islamic world in this country. It's about getting into the minds of these young men in this country who are 17, 16, 18, 19, 20 within the Islamic world, and encourage them not to follow in the footsteps of them perverted old men within their culture, within their societies. Because they're here, they exist. What we should be focusing on is their mindsets, their corrupted mindsets that they've been taught. We need to encourage a modern day Muslim within British society instead of them old hateful ways. And that's the way we need to go forward. We can't just start wrecking Muslim kids that's been born and bred in this country because they're being given an ideology by poisonous, perverted old men. I think that's a valid point, isn't it? Let's have it right. It's not about division. It's not about pride, inclusion neither. It's about every British-born child being included in this country's values. That's all it is. But we've got a load of dirty, up minds, adults, just destroying the minds, creating division, creating animosity. It's all there to see, isn't it? I don't need to keep... Well, I'm going to keep on screaming about it. Why? Because that's the only way we're going to protect our young girls in the future, by changing the mindsets of the young men in this country. And it doesn't matter these days. It does matter at the moment when it comes to religion, ethnicity, culture, colour, whatever. It does matter. And you've got to be blind as a bat not to see that. And you've got to be a complete rat not to say anything like that. Haven't you? You have a daughter, Darren? Of course I do, mate. Even when I never had a daughter, I was still screaming out for the youth. When I never had a child, I was screaming out for the youth. Only had a child for 3-4 years. What do you think of us calling our corrupt lot out? It's about time, because that's what they are. Gang of lying, deceitful, horrible, posh, rich, coke sniffing rats. Sort of like hits the nail on the head with all them lot, regardless of who they are. But it's about picking the best of all evil. And if you look at the political parties, you've got a semi-British party, which is the Conservatives. You've got a Muslim Labour Party, which is the Labour Party. And then you've got a 80% British, which is Reform. And they're your three options in this country, unless a fresh political movement comes through with fresh faces, fresh importance, fresh opinions, different understanding from all them posh boys that's being educated in all these big posh schools, allowing just one Scouser into Parliament or two maybe, allowing just one Manchester kid in there just to represent, to keep us all happy. That's not good enough. This isn't working. It's not working for us. Why the f*** do you think it's going to work for our 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds? Never. It's just not going to happen, is it? And it's not about discriminating, like I said before. It's not about destroying the lives of children, regardless of the faith, regardless of the cultures. It's about protecting the minds of them from the dirtiness within their cultures, like we do in ours. It's very upsetting and very discouraging to see not a single man or imam or brother of Islam or anyone besides there's few raising it. But on the streets, on the levels I'm speaking about, political structure, they've got to put it out there like, you know, there's a bit of argument going on, but it's bullshit. Oh yeah, Jason Zulu wasn't part of a grooming gang. Of course he was, from the top down. That's why this exists. That's why this goes on. That's why there's a cover-up. That's why that Labour Party is going to the top of the tree with this cover-up. They're not just hiding these little dickhead politicians. They're hiding people like Tony Blair. They're hiding all them politicians from 20 years ago who are now lords and peers and big representatives of the monarchy and shit like this. That's who they're protecting right now. Don't think they're protecting all these little idiots in your social service departments and police stations and shit. That's the cover-ups just began on that vote. The real cover-up began yesterday on that vote. They just put cover-up out there so it's burnt out, so it hasn't got the substance anymore. Everyone screamed it for 3 weeks before it really started. They're not screaming it much now. You don't hear no one screaming cover up, cover up, cover up no more, do you? Why? Because the strength of it burnt out. They planted the seed 3 weeks ago on a little bit of madness. Yeah, it was a cover up. It was a cover up from the public. Loads of different people knew, loads of people resigned. This cover up, this is about right to the top of the tree, this. There's a reason why Sadiq Khan's been in power for 3 terms in London. Don't get you in a twist. There's a reason why as soon as Keir Starmer in, my man's got a peer. He's been protecting that fort for years for Starmer, Tony Blair, and then peers and them lords, which goes right up to the top with the monarchy, King Charles. I don't give a f*** if you're British or you're loyal to them. I don't care. I once was, but you've got to see the facts right in front of your face. Do you see him protecting this land? He's protecting his own fucking arse. People know this. And every time they try and push back a little bit, they're leaking more. And this is what you're seeing on a worldwide stage right now. Visual blackmail to the monarchy. And you've seen it again. Prince Andrew went quiet. The Queen bailed him. Then she died. It was sweet. Everyone was getting pushed, everyone was pushing back a little bit. Bang, a month ago, Prince Andrew's back in the limelight. They're pushing on them again. And this is what it is. It's just, mate, everything's just a mess, mate. And in the middle of all this, you've got young, white, English girls being damaged in the full fact of the power structure of this country being covered up from the 80s. Everyone's screaming 90s, 2000s, 80s. That's how far back this goes, and that's how far back they're covering up. And then people that have been in that party since it started, they're up there 40 years later. Not the 90s, the 80s. When loads of children in this country, like myself, was getting abused by politicians and figures like that. Thousands of us. No wonder all these 30-year men came in, thought it was rich pickings with the kids. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So the cover-up started yesterday with that vote. And Keir Starmer has been in the pocket of the people he's covering up for 20 years, right through his legal career.